took my S4 for its first major service job, if you want to put it that way, 55,000 kilometer service, and I took it to the guys at River City Motors. These guys know what they're talking about when it comes to Audis and Volkswagens, so please go check them out, especially if you're in the Edmonton area or if you're in Alberta as a whole. These guys are really, really meticulous. So thanks so much, River City. You guys did great, and I will be coming back in the future. We found out, and I did not know this, that this car actually is not stock. The modification lies right under here. This car actually has a dual pulley system. Now the crazy thing is this dual pulley belt can add a stupid amount more power, and check out the graphs for yourselves. It's actually kind of crazy. Now here's the thing, I did my first pull about a couple months back, and I noticed that the clutch seemed to slip, especially when you're really throwing it into gear, and then it clicked. Apparently what happens is when people upgrade the pulley system on this car, they don't take into account the clutch, because the clutch cannot handle the torque increase and the horsepower increase that this system can add. So what does that mean? I need a new clutch, and OEM isn't gonna cut it.
Okay, so we have a couple options though. So the first one being I revert to factory. So that would involve removing the pulley setup that I have right now and just putting a factory one in. So that would obviously reduce the power that the car currently has at the moment, and that would also work better with the OEM clutch that's on here right now. Problem is, the clutch on this car needs to be replaced. Now, it is completely drivable. It definitely moves rather effortlessly. It's only when you're really banging through gears and on it that you start to notice the clutch will completely slip. It's happened to me where I'll be in third, or I'll be in second, I'll shift into third or downshift into third, and it'll just get complete rev craziness going on. And that's how you can kind of know when your clutch is on its way out. So that's option number one. Option number two would be to keep the setup that I have on here right now and upgrade the clutch. However, if I am to do that, I must have a minimum of a stage 2 clutch. Not only does the research say this online, but also the guys at River City recommended a minimum of a stage 2 clutch, because that holds just up to, I think they just said around 400 pound-feet of torque. So that would be just enough to handle the setup that the pulley can produce at the moment. So even a stage 2 is not the ideal clutch to have. The perfect one would be to go stage 3. However, it is very, very expensive. And the thing is, this is my daily driver, so I don't feel like having an on and off switch for moving into first, second, third, etc. So I'm not really too keen on having a clutch that is going to be that aggressive either. And lastly, there's the third option, and that is to sell the car. That's not something I really want to do either, because number one, this car is still pretty new to me. Number two, I do quite like this car. Number three, it is a really nice car. I'm a big fan of S4s and the look of them inside and out. And I don't really know what other car I would replace it with. So that's something I want to ask you guys too. What would you do in my shoes? Would you go out and be willing to spend around $6,000? And remember, I live in Canada, so the prices are going to be steeper compared to all of my American viewers. Or do I sell the car and get something different? If I were to go with a BMW 3 Series, which in all honesty, I am a big fan of BMW. I just did not get them because the reliability is not the best, especially where I live in a really cold climate. They don't seem to do all that well in the winter time. That just is the way it is. So that's why I went with Audi. Generally speaking, especially this 3-liter V6 is one of the best engines Audi has ever made. I don't know of many other options. Maybe Maybe the new Toyota Corolla GR that's coming out, or the GR Corolla, that's a really cool car. It's kind of going back to my old racer boy roots, because, you know, it is a hatchback and whatnot, but that is also an option. So there are certain things I really need to consider within the next couple months. All right, guys, let's turn that off.
And the other thing too is, if the clutch job wouldn't be all that expensive, really it would be a lot easier for me to make a decision for my S4, but it is not going to be cheap. We're going to be looking at well north of $5,000 to get the clutch and all the labor, everything included in that service. So it's going to be expensive. So I'm torn. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So I've reached this crossroad, and I would love to know what your thoughts are on what I should do with this. If you were in my shoes, would you keep the car, upgrade the clutch, call it a day, and just have fun with it? Or would you just sell it at this point and get something completely different? The reality is, either option is going to cost a lot of money. So I would just like to know what your thoughts are on what I would, or what I should do, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, before you go, there's going to be an awesome video coming up in a couple days. If you love cars, if you love car meets, if you love crazy cool tuner vehicles, exotics, you name it, you're going to have to watch this next one. So make sure that bell notification's on so that you get alerted when that goes live, because that video is going to be so much fun, and I'm excited to put it on the channel. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you next time, and keep on driving.